With Illuvitars, this I guess the alpha that I'm going to give you is we're building in the ability, and I'm going to be a little bit careful with my wording here. We're building in the ability to integrate mainstream brands into the accessories.
All right, today we have a special guest, one of the co-founders of Illuvium, Kieran Warwick himself. Kieran, what's going on, man? It's a pleasure to have you on the stream today. Welcome in. Today we're going to be getting into a little bit of the collectible side of Illuvium. I think it's super exciting. In my opinion, I think Illuvium has one of the strongest potentials to have literally one of the strongest collectability factors in the entire space. So just to kind of give everybody a context in the audience, collectible market size was estimated at 402 billion in 2021 and is expected to cross 1 trillion by 2032. And this is quoted on marketcipher.com. But so we're going to get into a little bit of on the collectability side of that. Kieran, are you ready, man? Welcome in.
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, it's good to see you again. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You know, I'm an avid Pokemon collector. The amount of weird stuff that I collected over the years in the 90s was obscene. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Let's do it.
Absolutely. I started breaking packs open again recently. Like I'll just go to the store when I see Pokemon cards, I'll just buy one. I'll swipe one and just take it to the checkout, and that's what I've been kind of doing. So yeah, I got a Pikachu out of I'm guilty. I went to McDonald's and bought a kid's Happy Meal, and I ended up getting a Pikachu. So I'm pretty excited about that pull. But yeah, for all the new viewers out there listening in, maybe they're just finding out about Illuvium. Could you quickly describe what an Illuvitar is? That's kind of like where I kind of want to start with things. I know we have Illuvium, the game. We have Illuvials in the game. But then there's this thing off to the side over here, which I find super interesting. In my opinion, this could be one of the biggest parts and elements in the Illuvium ecosystem. But could you quickly describe what an Illuvitar is for new viewers?
Sure. So it's essentially a Illuvial that you can dress up. There's 5 customizable slots that you can use. So you can add things like hats, tattoos, eyewear, different stuff like that, and you make it cool and unique. There's over, I think it's something like 14 billion combinations of all the different backgrounds and finishes that you can have, and different Illuvials with different accessories. So it's pretty crazy, and that was the first iteration of it. And then Roger, who you know well, decided to take it one step further and build it into a full collection game in itself. And the idea is there are 500 collections in set 1, and your job is to get all 10 in each collection. And if you do, you can unlock cool benefits like exclusive merchandise.
Let's go.
You can get like discounts and stuff like that across some of the stuff that we sell. So yeah, it's really cool, and it's hopefully launching very, very soon.
Yeah, so that sounds all amazing. I mean, for the viewers out there, obviously I worked at Illuvium for a little bit, and one thing I know is like you and Roger are like peanut butter and jelly, man. Like you guys are always working on something back there. There's always something stewing. And I don't think the rest of the team really knows, like, until it just comes out and it's like, oh my God, like that's what I got out of it. But super pumped where Illuvitars is going. Like I said, I think it's going to be one of the biggest elements and what I'm actually really excited for. So also there's like blind boxes, and you guys call them discs. That's kind of the dynamic there. But could you explain what a disc is for those viewers out there? And like, is there going to be different size discs and things like that?
Yeah, so there's 2 types of discs to start off with. First one is your basic, second one is your ultra. And they basically have, I think it's 2 Illuvitars in there, 3 accessories in terms of the Ultra, and you've just got a higher chance of picking up a rarer tier of Illuvitar in the Ultra. And then you've got, I think it's 1 Illuvitar and 2 accessories in the basic one. But the whole idea is and that's subject to change. I know that we're internally we're still mapping that out, but we're trying to recreate that unboxing, like you get a pack, you open it up, and so the reveal is really cool. You get Mozart, which is like, your little companion robot that comes along, and it spits out the different things that are inside the disc. So you insert the disc into Mozart, and then he goes and he beams out what you
I've seen a little leak on Twitter and it looks amazing. It's like, it reminds me of that Apex Legend robot. It's like, yeah.
But it's all meant to be like, we want streamers like yourself to go and buy these things and then open them up, and if you get something that's like super rare, it's like, oh my god, people go crazy and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm super excited. I actually have a lot of in my audience. There's a guy named Kobe Collects. Literally, he streams every day. He does VV breaks, or I guess like blind boxes. He does HRO card breaks, and he does Pokemon, and that's like, he literally every day streams for like 3 hours straight. And I'm just like, I watch his channel. I'm like, dude, I'm there for it. Like, I want him to see him pull a Charizard. Like, what is it, man? Like, I want to see it. So, yeah, super pumped for that and super excited. Yeah. So speaking of like, leaks and things like that, I seen Roger leak some stuff on Twitter about Illuvitars as well. I don't know if you can comment on that. Could you explain some of the insane things you guys are working on when it comes to Illuvitars? Any like alpha leaks there that you can kind of mention? And obviously it's much more than just a PFP. So, it's not that just obviously what you just described is way more dynamic and way more, it seems like it has already built-in longevity. Is there any like leaks or anything like that you guys are working on behind the scenes?
So yeah, I mean, getting like, Roger and I can doodle all we want on different ideas, and I tend to come up with some sort of basic idea, then he takes it to the next level, and then Aaron's like, okay, you guys are both idiots, we need to actually make this stuff. And so the idea with Illuvitars, this I guess the alpha that I'm going to give you is, we're building in the ability, and I'm going to be a little bit careful with my wording here, we're building in the ability to integrate mainstream brands into the accessories, right? So you might have a certain brand of clothing that you like, and so a different a type of hat, or maybe glasses that are super famous based on real life characters that have worn them before. And so we're basically taking existing IPs, which is super popular, and we're bringing them into the Web3 world, and we're using Illuvitars as that bridge to gain access to these different IPs. Now we've got a guy called Lauren who's just started with us, who is head of partnerships. As you know, I was looking for this person for like 6 months. It's something where basically I've built a lot of the partnerships that we've had over the past 18 months, and it was time to get someone dedicated to it. And he's so much better than me, it's not even funny. And he's already bringing in some huge names that I can't leak. I wish I could, but we're under NDA.
Yeah.
But like serious stuff where you're going to be like, what the actual, like, that you want to collect them, and then potentially they're only limited time that we're working with these partners. So highly collectible, very scarce, which for the collector buffs out there, it's a wet dream.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect transition right there. And actually what I was just about to ask, I didn't know you're going to reveal like that much, so I'm kind of a little bit like blown away. But do you see this one day becoming possibly bigger than the game itself when you consider like the IP and the actual brand you guys are building? And where do you kind of see that going in that direction?
It's a tough one. Look, I mean, I think Pokemon got to like their licensing and stuff like that, like their merch and apparel. It's got to about, I think the highest was like 44 or 45% of total gross revenue, which is insane, right? Like it's now you're talking TV shows, you're talking movie deals, you're talking like licensing deals, cross IP deals, like so many things that they've done over the last 20 years has built it up to a point where it's nearly as big as the game. So no, I don't think it can be as big as what, the 9 AAA games that we're planning to build inside this one interoperable universe. But I think it can still be a very, very significant portion. And, having physical collectibles one day in stores, it would be an absolute dream come true for myself. And I know a bunch of other guys on the team are super hyped about that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's I'm not going to sit here and say it'll blow away, Illuvium the game, but it definitely has potential.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I mean, obviously you're a gaming studio, and there's much going on in terms of the game itself too. So, also excited on that end as a gamer too. But yeah, speaking of which, like, there's obviously like 3 you guys, like 3 brothers that are like, for the viewers that like don't know the Warwicks, you guys are like insane and like in a good way, like a bunch of Elon Musk just like running around. Like you guys have each like different strengths. Who's going to be the best at the Leviathan and like the PvP, and who's going to be the best at like the collecting leaderboards, like Illuvitar side? Like just out of curiosity.
No, I mean, look, Illuvitars, it's all about putting, it's all about putting money in, right? So like,
yeah,
now I don't know, that's something that I'm going to put a lot of money into, right? Like I believe in getting that Genesis set. I think it's going to be super valuable from day one. When it comes to PvP, Aaron's the game designing wizard, right? Like he is a gun at that. However, I mean, Grant, if he puts his mind to something, he can pretty much beat anyone. So I don't know. Like it will have to wait to find out. But I certainly won't be the number one at gaming. Maybe at being able to spend money and collect, but that's probably about it.
Got it. Okay, I just had to ask. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So, okay, so we have to bring this up too. Like, I know we're on like Leak City here, like here at Illuvium. There's a lot of leaks, but I gotta ask it, man. Roger, the FPS first person shooter leak. What was that about? Can we talk about that? Or, yeah.
We can talk about it. It's literally just Roger doing Roger things, right? Like,
yeah.
He's an ideas man, and that's why him and I get along so well. We love new stuff, right? Like he needs to keep himself entertained, and that, I think he's probably had long chats with Aaron about that. Now he would have been pushing for that kind of stuff. As you know, Roger was one of our first hires. We treat him like family, basically. So, from our perspective, I think look, a first person shooter for me, I'm not going to be gunning for it. Like it doesn't appeal to me as much as some of the other genres of gaming that we're looking at, but it's a pretty damn cool idea. And, I think it definitely has some merit to it. So we'll see how we go.
I mean, just
nothing official. It's just Roger being Roger, right?
Yeah, I mean, just watching Arlen shoot that gun in the game, like just the beta footage or whatever, like in the overworld is insane. Like I'm like, get me in the overworld like immediately. Like it's good. So yeah, like obviously you guys have to put out the games first, the main game mode and the lane game and all that stuff, but. Man, I think, I mean, just the graphics, even a mini game of like, I don't know, just something so small, like would probably be pretty insane. But I'm a big FPS guy. Love Call of Duty, play all those games like all the time. But yeah, so very interesting, very interesting. Obviously, Roger, like you guys have some killers in the team. Like Roger's definitely one of those killers. So, but yeah. So speaking of like games and different things going on, you had like a big long thread recently, and kind of have talked about it here and there about the interoperability factor in the Illuvium universe. Could you tell viewers what that really means for like people that are like, what does that mean, interoperability in the Illuvium ecosystem? Like, Tell us a little bit about that and why that's so important and kind of like revolutionary.
Essentially, your journey starts off in Illuvium 0. You need to collect the resources and the fuel that is required to go and collect inside the overworld. So you go and play that game, which is like a SimCity sort of genre where it's a city builder game. And you extract your resources, you collect them all up, and then you head on off into the overworld. Then from the overworld, that's your like Pokemon experience where you've got all these beautiful regions. You've got 185 different Illuvials to collect, and you're using that fuel to go and get shards. Those shards of what akin to like a Pokeball, and you use them to collect the creatures. Once you have the creatures, that's when you can go into the arena, which is another genre of gaming, which is similar to your team fight tactics. Now, the problem there is there's a lot of grinding that it takes inside the overworld to get a deck, right? Like you might go from Illuvium 0 and you got like a tiny bit of fuel and you're like, yeah, I'm going straight into the overworld. You go and collect one Illuvial and you're like, boom, I'm ready to go into the arena. But then you get wrecked, right? Because other people have spent more time, they've got more fuel, they've got more Illuvials. And so you end up in this loop, right, of three genres of gaming that are all interconnected, all seamlessly, and all underpinned by a single token, which in our case is ILB. And it's never been done before at a AAA level. Think of it for like to really, really boil it down. Think about like the Mario franchise, for example, right? You've got Super Smash Brothers, you've got Mario Party, you've got Mario Kart, you've got multiple other games inside this IP. But if you want to play all of those games, A, they're not interconnected. B, you've got to go and spend $100, $100 to go and buy each of these games. Imagine if you could go from Super Smash Bros. And jump straight into Mario Kart, and then jump straight into the like all the other games that they have inside the ecosystem. It would change the game, right? Like it would be what we're coining is an IBG, right? This interoperable blockchain game where it's just all connected. And yeah, as I said, at a AAA level, it's never been done before.
Yeah, that's just insane to me. Like I have grown up with Pokemon, so like my Pokemon brain is just going off. Like the lights are exploding in my brain. It's just like, first of all, I like what you mentioned though, like in the grinding mechanism. It's like you don't want to like catch a Pidgey and then just go into like the gym and expect to get a badge like right away. It's like no, like that's not how it works. Like you gotta either you gotta grind it out, get your deck, and then go. But yeah, the IBG like and interoperability, that's just insane to me. Like all the games that you guys are creating, how it's connected like that. Like that's going to give gamers like that feeling of I mean, it is true ownership. Obviously, these are like NFTs, but super crazy. Speaking of all the games, the beta is kind of out for some select few and things like that. It looks incredible. I've played it. Like I have a 3090 GPU and it like shreds the GPU. Like I'm gonna have to get that 4090 that's like this big. Like I don't know if you've seen the 4090.
Bought it now in our team recently, and it was like they put a picture up, and it was literally like another computer. It's insane, but that would definitely be a delicious little appetite for our game.
Yeah, I mean, it literally looks like you could cook bacon and eggs on it. It's so massive. It looks like a mini grill. But yeah, like when are you guys gonna do like the public beta launch and all that? Is there like a time horizon, or are you just kind of waiting on a few things?
We don't really have a date for it. Look, we're just looking to get all of the different alphas and betas out right now. We want it to have as much polish as possible. We want that interoperable experience to be seamless, as I say, and you really only get one shot at it. So we don't have a hard date that we're gunning for. We're just heads down building at the moment and getting things done as fast as possible.
Right. And then, of course, the land game and all that good stuff. Speaking of which, this one's kind of off, like not directly. Well, it's directly because the land game. Apple announced that they're doing, they're pro NFT now, and it's NFT land, but there's a big catch. It's a 30% fee. What's your thinking on that, and how you guys plan to roll out the land game? Are you just going to go with Android? What does that look like in terms of the mobile app?
And unless we're still fine with that, right? Like we don't have a situation where a 30% fee, like as you know, 100% of revenues less fees go back to the people who are staked in the protocol. So for us, yes, it means that we're going to generate less revenue, but the amount of mainstream adoption that we can get from going onto a platform like the iOS platform, it's unparalleled. You're talking hundreds of millions of gamers that are on that platform. It would be insane for us to just go, no, let's not go on that because there's a 30% fee. People want to do that. They know that, the investors know how our economy works, and it's just going to mean less revenues coming out of that one single avenue. It's not that big a deal for us.
Yeah, and like to the viewers out there, it's like that's crazy. If you have ILV and you got it staked, revenue goes back to the DAO. Like that's how that works. That got me excited. I don't know why. I just like I figured it was just like yeah, it kind of sucks, but then I don't know. It's just that gets me really pumped about that. And yeah, when you own your own IP brand, it doesn't affect you as much either. So that's always a big plus there. So
think about how many eyeballs that's going to get in front of. It would be crazy not to adventure down that route. That's certainly what I think anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we need some updates on certain events. I mean, we have literally, my audience, they just got back from Comic-Con. They're literally going to decons, collecting these designer toys. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like when you guys put out, like, if you guys ever do it, put out like, if you do limited edition physical runs, like the audience is gonna go insane. Like I already have VV people transitioning over to Illuvium. They're rocking it on Twitter and everything. I think it's going to be absolutely nuts. Just saying. But I seen you talk about Illuvifest, Illuvicon. Did you decide a name there? What does that look like in terms of events? Like I feel that the most hardcore dedicated fans are going to make like an effort to just be there no matter what. You know what I mean? So
we're scoping out the venue that we would ideally like, and it's I'm not going to say where it is because we don't want anyone to take it, or we don't want any competition or anything like that. But it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. And the whole idea is the reason I don't want to call it a conference, and this we still have to submit the IIP and get it approved and stuff like that. But I don't want to call it a conference because it's not, right? It's more a festival, which is, I feel like festivals are more a celebration. And that's sort of what we're doing here. We're bringing top tier music artists. We're bringing top tier crypto experts, NFT experts, collecting experts, and DeFi experts. And we're saying, you two come together, you bring the entertainment, you bring the education. We have breakout sessions where the artists are working with the DeFi and the crypto people, and they both get benefit out of that. That from the DeFi and crypto people, they're building relationships with these people that they would never have a chance to meet in real life before. The opposite of that is these guys have disposable income in terms of, where do I want to invest my money? I know crypto is a big thing, so educating them firsthand from the horse's mouth is really, really powerful. And then Aaron came up with this idea if we're bringing all these people together and it's going to be this massive festival, then let's add a $1 million tournament where we're going to have an esports competition on top of that.
oh my god, yeah.
So you've got everything. And I mean, some people have thrown out crap like, let's do celebrity boxing matches and stuff like that. I don't know if we're going to go that far.
Vulcan versus Vetemort. No. You should do the small celebs and then the big ones.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, they're already trying to drum up enough attention to be able to do it. So it wouldn't surprise me if it happened. But yeah, it's a celebration of all things crypto, and obviously it's going to be held by Illuvium. So there's going to be a big focus on the Illuvials, on the Illuvitars, on land, and just really educating the masses, because we're talking about getting thousands and thousands of people there that wouldn't necessarily go to a crypto conference, but if they're seeing 10, 15, 20 of their favorite artists, it's like, well, Jesus, I have to go to that now. Like that's something. And then it's like, well, while you're here, you may as well sign up to a few crypto events and stuff like that. And that's how we sort of want it to roll. Like very similarly to how we run the game, we don't want to bombard you with all the crypto jargon and crazy like yield, earn, play to earn, all this shit that people don't resonate with in the mainstream. We would rather you just be playing a fun game, and then you slowly realize over time, oh wow, I've actually owned these things. This isn't like Pokemon, and I can trade them and I can sell them freely for real money. That's the same sort of adoption that we're looking for with this festival. And yeah, it's just another thing that we're adding to the arsenal that we think will increase our IP's awareness.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast, and I love that strategy and approach where it's like, oh, like I own these, like yeah, like let's go. I don't know if you just saw recently, but like Reddit, like people at first are like, oh, this is an NFT, I hate it. And then they realize they had one and they're like, oh, wait a minute, how much is it worth? And then all of a sudden they're like raving fans. Like, oh, I just love that approach. And I could definitely see that working out really well. Obviously, I think Reddit's that's like a major use, like case study right there. Because as you know, Reddit can be very toxic to NFT people and in general. And so it was very interesting to see that play out. And that could be something very interesting to watch too. Yeah, I saw you go Giga Chad and go absolutely ballistic on TSG's channel when that PB2 came out. Any updates there, or is that already out? Obviously, I think that's already out, right?
Away from that. I'm staying well away from it. It's too addictive. I know that I played maybe 5 hours, and when I did, it was just like the first time I was super tired and I only played for like an hour, and I was like, God, this is really complex now. I need to give this a bunch of time. And I thought about it, and I knew I was going to go on this AMA parade where 50 AMAs in 30 days. And I knew I just wouldn't have the time to do that and all the other stuff that I do. And so I've stayed away from it. But one night, my friend, like, he convinced me. He was like, it's actually the guy who designed Squiz originally, or conceptualized Squiz, and then Roger took it to the next level. But I was at his place, and he was like, I was like, dude, I can't do this. Like, I like, this is breaking security. I just. And he's like, dude, I'm basically a team member. I was the one who ideated Squiz. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. So I ended up downloading it, and we played for like 5 hours straight. It was pretty crazy. And I woke up and I was like, God damn it, get that game away from me. I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to be. I need to be, focusing on work and stuff like that. So yeah, I've stayed away. But PB3, different story. That's when tournaments, achievements, a lot of things unlock. I'm going all in, right? I don't care. It's probably going to be at the detriment to some of the factors in the business, but I don't care. I'm going all in.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And yeah, I gotta figure out get my arrangements in order for when PB3 and everything comes out. The final evolution of Squiz, that alluvial looks absolutely. And I'm going to play it on the screen when I upload this, but the final evolution with the particles, I mean, that thing looks...
I think it is Octavius, I think.
Yeah, insane. I watched that leak and I was like, that in itself, I've never seen this in the crypto space. Like, personally, like, I don't know. I'm definitely going to get a Squiz and a bunch of them. I'm going to be getting a bunch of those, right out of the gates. Like, I'll be a...
Squiz.
Yeah, Squiz OG. All right, so we've seen some tournaments kind of in the community. They're obviously excited about PvP. Can you tell us or have an update on PvP and when it might go public, or any kind of massive updates on PvP or anything like that?
Really, really trying to get it in by the end of the year. No promises, obviously. It's a big ask. There's a lot of the design is done, but there's a lot of building. We're building a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. We've got Illuvium Zero that's being built. We've got the overworld, which we're trying to get out. So that's like the last, people, arena players already have an awesome product to play. And yes, it's nowhere near as sticky without tournaments and PvP, but we've been promising a bunch of other stuff. So the focus isn't on PV3, but we are still trying to get it done by the end of the year.
Sweet. All right. Sounds good to me. I mean, the end of the year is not that far away. And, but yeah, so I just saw you guys, by the way, you had a Coinbase listing, absolutely massive, huge. How hard was that to get the listing? I mean, tell us a little bit about that. Like, how pumped were you? Like, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Super pumped, man. Danny does amazing things in the background, and not many people know, how hard that guy works. And Danny, for reference, he's the CFO for the listeners out there. He smashes it out, man. And he got a Binance US listing, and then I think a month later the Coinbase listing came through. So just incredible. I would love for it to have been, not in a bear market, but again, it is what it is, and it's really good to get that exposure to different people.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that pretty much sums up everything. Is there any other things we should be looking out for? And shout out to Danny, by the way. I got to meet him at Permissionless. Absolute classy guy, man. Just was running around doing a bunch of stuff at the event. Shout out to Danny, by the way. But yeah, is there anything that we should be on the lookout on the horizon? Like, do I need to be like following your account on Twitter? Like, or what do I need to do? You know what I mean?
I don't know. There's going to be a whole, I guess we'll start doing a few. If we get the IIP approved for Illuvitars, we'll do things like giveaways for tickets to that. Illuvitars are coming out. We're running competitions all the time. Beta for open world is about to open up the registrations for that, which I think, is going to go absolutely crazy. But yeah, man, there's a lot to consume, so just get into our Discord and go from there.
Absolutely. And I know the leaks are kind of Andrew's kind of doing those on YouTube now, on the main Illuvium YouTube. Is there still leaks in the Discord for
We've already changed that. It's you can start to see the leaks again.
Love it. Yeah, so for everybody in the audience right now, the leaks are insane. I mean, Grant, I think, is, if he's still leaking those, like, incredible stuff they're working on the background. So if you want to see like full transparency on Illuvium, go check out the leak channel, man. Like, get some inspiration in there, see what's going on. That's a great place to just start to see what's up. So Kieran, man, it was a pleasure, man. We got to have you back on again sometime soon. We definitely need to do some another update on the discs and things like that, or the Illuvitars rather, and maybe do some pack break lives eventually one day. Yeah. But
let's do some opening of discs live. I know how crazy your BD community is and how much they love that.
Oh god, yeah, it's gonna be Hello K. I got a bunch of guys that, like, we all did pat breaks live on a different platform, so we got to do it. It's like no brainer.
Yeah, I'll be in.
All right, sounds good, man.
Thanks so much for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
See you, bro.
Later.
Bye.